Charlotte. It is so wonderful to reconnect with you.
Hello.
So happy that we get to share in this magic and miracles time with this new book of ours.
Yes, exactly. That is special times, definitely.
Yes, well, your life seems to be filled with all sorts of magical special times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have so much to explore. Thank you, first of all, for sharing your story in this book. It's
Thank you for
awesome.
having me. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you for welcoming me to your beautiful farm this summer. That was such a treat to know that there's this animal healer and who can communicate with the souls and the minds and the hearts of animals. I was just fascinated. So to be able to come to your farm and see your horses and your dogs and other beings, it was really
Yeah.
special for me and my daughter.
It was such a treasure to have you here. Truly, it was.
Well, let's just start off with kind of the magic of you. How is it that you can hear and understand what animals are thinking or feeling, and when they're, especially when they're wounded? Because your
Yeah.
work with rescued animals, whether they've been rescued in the wild or rescued
Mm.
from circus,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that,
Some other dire circumstances, right? Yeah.
yeah, the trauma. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm always really touched by the trauma of animals because I feel like they don't have the
Yeah.
same defenses as we do, being
No.
able to communicate or run away. So, where did this all start for you? Like, where did you first know that you could understand what animals were feeling or thinking?
For me, it has always been there. This connection to the animals.
Like, since
Um,
you were a kid?
since I was a kid, and I was always the one with saying hi to all the dogs in the street, and just knowing how the horses were feeling in the stable, if this one was a little bit sad, or if that one lacked vitamin A, or if this one's saddle was nagging its back, whatever. I just knew, and it was not until later in life that it sort of struck me that not everybody knew this. Yeah. When you ask me how did you find out? Well, I really found out that this was not something everybody did.
Mm.
Um, but as an adult, I trust that everybody really are built to be able to know this, because this is our nature. It's human nature to be able to connect to source. So diving into that sort of gave me more and more. It enhanced the connection that was already there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So in terms of all of us having these abilities to connect to source, hear from animals, then it sounds like it's this, I won't even call it a sixth sense, seventh, eighth
Seventh,
sense.
eighth, yeah.
You have multiples. So if we all have that ability, I just wonder, I wonder how, I just wonder how we don't get that recognition early on. Is it just because people would say, "Oh, you don't really understand what they're thinking," or do
There's a lot of
is it
there's
programming or is it lack of awareness? What is it?
I think there's a lot of society. I think there's a lot of conditioning, there's the society that we live in, especially in the north of Europe, and it's unconnected to nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's unconnected to our natural state of human being, not human doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and for me, it's like reconnecting, because
Yeah.
we know this. It's coming back to something natural in us. It's coming back to something that we recognize. We know it already in our system.
I like that.
Uh,
Recognize.
Recognize, yeah.
Yes. So
So
if we already know it and it's in our system, hmm,
yeah,
it just for me what that says to me is that there's a whole world that we're missing.
exactly.
I mean, the
Amen.
connection that
Yeah.
I hear people have with nature, that they can feel and sense things from trees. And I mean, I know I feel good in nature, but I don't know that I
Yeah.
necessarily get messages.
No, and for me, the animals, my connection work, my awareness work, my communication work, has made that more visible for me how this is orchestrated. And doing for me this work with getting in contact more and more with the animals, they have taught me what this is about.
Wow.
They are because they are so connected to source in themselves. So connecting to them help me connect better to source. So who's healing who? You know, when I go out and do healing work, who's actually healing who? So that's sort of an idea as well.
Well, that's part of what your mission is, really, isn't it? That you really want people to become more aware of our connection to animals, how they can help us heal, how they can help us increase our awareness, right?
Exactly. And I trust that by doing this work, I mean, that's just how it unfolded for me, because I started out just wanting to communicate with my horse or make my dog's life better. And we talked about the trauma work, and that's sort of the path that I have chosen in my animal healing work, that I do a lot of healing and communication work with traumatized animals in some of the larger rescue centers we have in Denmark. And that's a special game. And these animals, some of them have some stories that are, it shows humanity, what humanity is doing to animals. And if I truly trust that we are all from the same source. So when we do bad things to animals, we do bad things to ourselves. We do bad things to everybody, the whole. So if we damage the whole, we damage our own living conditions. That's stupid. And if I think that when it's what they've shown me, the animals, if we reconnect to this part of ourselves where we open ourselves to the divine, when we open ourselves to what can unfold through connection to source. And doing this awareness work with animals has given me sort of, I'm lacking a bit of words here, but it has given me a more of a vision of what it is actually that the animals can bring to our lives. And that's not where I started. That's not where I started out at all.
Right.
And this has unfolded for me, and it's been a mesmerizing path to thread together with these animals, because they have shown me what is actually there for us to engage into if we can figure out how to make ourselves available to this. That's a whole other ball game.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So, okay, if we do believe that we all come from source, God, energy, whatever you want to call that. So if animals come from that, we come from that, we really are one family on this earth.
Exactly. Yes.
Some are furrier than others in our family.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I thought was really fascinating is something that you shared with us when we were in England, and that is that you can help animals connect to something that you called an oversoul. So that, when we're on, it's like us, when we're on this earth, sometimes we feel very disconnected from our true source, from our true home, from our higher self. And so that was fascinating to me. Tell me a little bit more about this oversoul and how you help animals reconnect to that so they can heal.
All animals have, all human and non-human animals have a connection to an oversoul, a sort of a group spirit, a united sort of divine entity that sort of covers us as a species. So there's an oversoul for dogs. There's a collective consciousness or oversoul for horses and for cats and for guinea pigs and for lemurs and for snakes and for and for humans. And the way that the animal's energy system is structured, they are in a more constant connection to this oversoul. Where the way we are structured, may feel that, we lose this connection. So we have to take an active decision into going back into that connection, which for the animals is more natural to them. And I think also that is what some of the reason why we're drawn on a subconscious level, because we want to reconnect. We feel this need to reconnect. And I think we sense that. in the animals, and they can show us through their empathy, through their connection work with us, how to do this. What I've discovered in my animal healing work with traumatized animals is that when we, with the circumstances that we humans sometimes put the animals through, they lose their connection to their oversoul, and that is traumatizing to a degree that is heartbreaking. When you meet an animal that has lost their connection and they are conscious that they know that they've lost their connection. I get goosebumps every time I talk about this.
Me too.
Oh, because it's, when I'm in that space with them, I open my energy system and I feel them. I feel their sorrow. I feel their heartbreak. I feel their disconnection to source. And when we are unconscious about our disconnections, they are not. So suddenly we get access to a whole nother awareness of what does it mean to be lacking connection to source.
Wow.
And we gotta need to deal with that in the situation because it triggers our own disconnection. But that's not what it's about when you're doing the healing work. It's about getting the animal reconnected. And through some of the healing work that I've done, I have experienced these animals getting back in contact with their oversoul. And that is just why I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so profound. As you're saying it, I am seeing a mirror from my own life. I know now for me, much of the feeling of depression and anxiety was because I was disconnected from who I believe my real self is, my higher self, and what I was meant to do on this planet. And you're right. I think we humans, we often don't have a word for that. I mean, yes, I may have called it depression or anxiety, and I was always looking for the root. Like, was it a brain chemical thing? Was it something out there? But this connection with our soul, our oversoul, our guardians, protectors, all of that, I think it's critical for us humans. So I love that you have this ability to reconnect them. And I think the other thing that just came up to me, and tell me about this, you shared a story about an elephant that you met, and I would love for you to tell that.
Yeah.
But the cool thing that I see with your work is from the stories you've shared, when you connect an animal to their oversoul, is there ever any resistance? Like, because for us humans, I've done work with humans in trauma, and sometimes we have this feeling like, oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, I've done so many bad things. I don't deserve. God is going to judge me. Or like we have all this internal stuff.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the animals are like, oh, is that all I need to do? Reconnect. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Sometimes they, sometimes when they have to go through the reconnection work, they relive some of the trauma that has caused the disconnection.
Just like we do.
And that ain't pretty, even like it isn't for us either. But I've seen some of them reconnect so quickly. And just, especially, you were referring to the elephant that I met in Thailand, and she didn't think that she was allowed to reconnect. She knew she could, but she thought she wasn't allowed. And that was heartbreaking because she could sense the reconnection. It's like, if I need to give sort of a picture of it, the connection was just above her. And she could sense her spirit guides. She could sense she could sense this world that she was disconnected from, and she knew it was there. But because of what she has been through, she was not allowed to. She thought she was not allowed to reconnect. So all I did was actually just tell her, you are allowed to. And she was like, right, okay. And she just did it. And that was like, what?
Right. But what I love is that other people can see it too. So whether they know or believe in energy healing and animal healing, you said that her trainer was like surprised.
Exactly, she was. And before we did this work, of course, I asked permission, can I do some healing work with this elephant? And she said, no. And then she said, what is healing? And then I explained to her, and she said, you can't touch her. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I can stand on a distance and just do a sort of a close by. You have a distance healing, you have an on-site healing, but some animals you can't physically touch because that's dangerous. So what will you do? You will invent some way to sort of make your energy body available to their energy body and just work from there. Because there are dangerous animals. Some animals are dangerous to humans. You can't touch them. But that shouldn't prohibit the work anyway. And she could just see, she was looking at me like, what's going on here? She started interacting with us. She started moving about in her pen. She started eating. And these trainers of these elephants, they know they're elephants. And they say that the elephants have bad memories. It's what they say in the rescue center in Thailand, that they bring the animals there and they have sad memories or bad memories. And that gets them depressed and sad. And just that for a human to recognize the animal is sad, is recognizing in the animal that there is an emotional body. There are emotions and sensation going on in these animals too. They're not just machines. So she knows her animal. She knew her elephant, and she could see how she was just sort of re-entering into a presence in her in her state of mind, and that was so beautiful.
That is so powerful.
That was.
So I wonder then if these abilities that you've had forever, as you as an adult have developed them first to communicate with your own horse, and now you're teaching other people, you're running workshops and clinics, people hire you to help figure out what's going on with their animals. I wonder if that has also increased your sensitivity to manifesting, because the story that you told me about the farm that I got to visit, the farm that you live on, that was magic in and of itself. So do you think that you have this power to manifest? And then you have to tell us how you manifested this farm.
How we manifested.
Yes, you and your beautiful husband.
I think that doing the energy work, connecting to source, and for me it has been energy work through my work with animals, and other people do it in other ways. But when we reconnect to source, we allow ourselves to be in a space where things can unfold. And that's where the magic is. That's where the juice is. And this farm showed up. We've been looking for a farm for over 10 years because the horses were living in various livery stables around our house, and we couldn't take the dogs directly out for a walk. We need to pack up all the dogs, put them in the car, and drive to somewhere we can walk. And we lived in a nice house, but it was just not it. We were started, dreaming about, can we have a place where we can have all our animals at home? And just go out, and in the evening when we go out and give them their evening hay, and just listening to them munching their hay. That is a meditative sound.
Yes.
Having all of them under one roof, and have our business under one roof, have enough room to move, elbow room to move, and have some nature close to us. And we had a lot of things we wanted to fulfill, and the budget, and there were just so many things, and it's like, this can never be. And then just one day it was there. And we've always said, we bought an old house. It took us 15 years to renovate. And we always said, I'm not going to be that kind of person who just finish up the last paint job on that house and then sell it the next day. And that's what we did. and the farm showed up. It has been for sale for 7 years. And it was 10 kilometers away from where we live.
Oh my gosh.
And we didn't know. We weren't ready.
Yeah.
And then one day we were, and that was like, it took 2 months from we saw the farm the first day. The first person who came to look at our house bought it.
Like that. I love it.
Like that. And this house was what the real estate agent called our house an ego house, because it's not a house that anyone would buy except that one person. And he said, how can I find that one person? And that was the first person.
That is amazing.
Yeah. And all these contracts that we need to go through, we needed to talk to agricultural agencies about the business case for the farm. We're not farmers.
Right.
We're IT people. And I'm a crazy animal healer. And it's like, how can we buy a farm that is actually large enough that we have to do farming?
Wow. Yeah.
Luckily, my hubby is very handy and can drive a tractor, and we've done a little bit of help around the neighbors where we used to live, but we don't know anything about farming. And 2 months after we saw it the first time, we moved in. And I thought, in the middle of the winter, it was muddy and cold, and the heating stove broke down, and the tractors broke down, and everything just, it was untidy and messy and everything. And it was just like, what have we done? What have we done? And it's just a heaven on earth, this place. We
It
love it
is.
here.
It
We love
really
it.
is
And it's
beautiful.
like, it's only been 5 years.
Wow.
And it feels like our old life is a different life.
Yeah. You've
The one
moved
we
into this next phase of your evolution
exactly,
as a couple, as you, as a
exactly.
healer, and all of this. And so now you're running courses. So
Yeah,
you help other people learn how to have that connection with
absolutely.
animals. And you're hosting them there at the farm and elsewhere.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about animalhealer.net.
Well, animalhealer.net has been around for many years, but it has sort of been brought to the next level
Yeah.
the past year. So definitely. And this farm connected with Animal Healer is sort of an intertwined thing, because my husband and I, when we met a gazillion years ago, it was like, oh, there you are. It was this recognizing again, and we've been told by
Mm-hmm.
various mediums that, oh, you two have been together before, and you've been setting up healing centers before. And we were like, what?
In other
Okay, but
lives.
in another lives,
Yeah.
in various times during, evolution. It's like, this is really weird, woo-woo, crazy stuff. And on the other hand, it was just like, yeah, sure, of course we have. So why not do it here?
Mm-hmm.
And why not integrate a healing center with Animal Healer, and teaching people to connect to themselves, to source within, to the divine through animal healing work. And so we have the farm where we share this, clinics and spiritual retreats. But the teachings that I've done over the years, I'm packaging into Animal Healer Academy,
Yeah.
which is more or less the teachings that we do and have done for years online.
Perfect.
Because this is Denmark and the outskirts of the countryside of Denmark, and not everybody can come here. So how do we share what the animals have taught us over the years? Because this is not our knowledge to keep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially not with the visions and the messages that these traumatized animals have given me. I'm not the one to sit on this knowledge. It has to be shared for the animals' sake, because then at least their suffering has not been completely in vain.
Yeah.
So that's Academy intertwined in all of this as well.
I love it. It's so profound, the beautiful work that you're doing. I know that as people read this story, they will be inspired, because there's a lot of magic just surrounding you all. And I'm really excited that we might be collaborating on something in 2019. We will not say, but it will be very very exciting and very full of magic.
Yeah.
Well, Charlotte, I am so, so grateful for our connection, and I just love the work that you're doing, and I can't wait to visit your farm again so I can heighten my little superpowers and abilities, so I can communicate at least with my little dog here.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
Yes, looking so much forward to that. Definitely.
Well, check out Charlotte in this book, in her chapter, Magic and Miracles, and you can visit her online at animalhealer.net. If you visit magicandmiraclesbook.com, you'll see that Charlotte has some little gifts and goodies to teach you about energy and how to make your own connection with Source. Then that's a free gift for you. Thank you so much, Charlotte. I'm just in awe of you, and I so admire what you're doing. And thank you. On behalf of the animals, I thank you.
Thank you, Andrea, for all you do. Thank you so much.
It's a joy and a pleasure. See you again, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy that interview? I sincerely hope so. If you did, please click that like button and share this video with someone else who needs a little magic and miracles sprinkled into their life. Please support the authors by getting a copy of the book and check us out online. Visit magicandmiraclesbook.com to read all of the author bios, watch their videos, and many of them have some free gifts for you that all you have to do is enter your email and they will be magically delivered to you. If you have a story, or maybe you know someone who's had something miraculous happen in their life using the laws of the universe or the law of attraction or divine intervention, maybe an angel, well, check out the publishing options at makeyourmarkglobal.com and we just might feature your story in an upcoming book. Until we meet again, my friend, please remember that you are a miracle and you are a gift to this world. So share your presence with passion. Much love.